We're talking about retail, we're talking about enterprise, we're talking about security.
Well, CompuCom is an IT outsourcing company with a special focus in end-user device management. We manage more end-user devices in North America than any other company, which brings a little bit of nice complementarity to Erik's business, because we've found that a lot of retailers, and we do business with 5 of the top 7 retailers in North America, we find that retail sometimes tends to forget about the mobile device management aspect of mobility applications. And the two working together are important. So it's essentially a simple story of the consumer experience or the employee experience for the application through BestFit. And then on the back end, you have CompuCom being able to do everything from provisioning many devices to setting up an enterprise app store to being able to facilitate the incremental upgrades or major version upgrades of the user content that is really a wow factor that everybody's after in the first place. But without that back end, you don't get the benefit with the consumer or with the employee.
First, a show of hands, how many of you guys are on the marketing side? All right, so about half. And how about the IT side? It's about half. It's about half and half, which is an interesting convergence. And the reason kind of we're up here on stage together is we're finding retailers, brands, clients want to do this amazing mobile stuff, but they're afraid of kind of the guys talking earlier, we're talking about security. Why hasn't anyone made iOS and Android secure for us? Why are we worried about releasing and forgetting our devices, getting our devices stolen? So CompuCom manages the security and the infrastructure and powers y'all's kind of sensitivity to this subject. And what you can do with mobile is amazing on the enterprise side and the consumer side, what you're giving your consumers and what you're giving your employees with mobile. And CompuCom's here to make sure it's all kind of stabilized and secure. So some of the case studies we're going to go through today have to do with the amazing things you can do, but you've really got to think about your back-end infrastructure and the implications of that. I want to talk about something. I want to ask you guys on the marketing side, how long do you think newspapers are going to kind of keep taking your money to drive customers into your stores? Give me a show of hands for, will newspapers be here in 5 years? I see like 5 hands. Will newspapers, as they exist today, in printed form, on Sunday, be delivered in 2 years? All right, a little bit bigger hands. So between 2 and 5 years, we're going to see a mass drop-off. What you see here on the screen is just a little bit of a kind of a shock to the system. I'm not sure how we're all following this or how in tune with it, but in 2000, $64 billion was spent on newspaper. In 2007, $46 billion was spent. Last year, $21 billion. Look at the drop-off. So the retailers we work with are spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year driving traffic into the store with traditional media. If a newspaper isn't going to be here in a couple of years, 5 years, between 2 and 5 years, that money needs to be shifted. I mean, $120 million is a lot of money, $150 million, $50 million, however much you're spending, needs to be driven into the digital channel, the mobile channel, being able to talk one-to-one with your customer. So, you can spend half a Sunday clipping coupons, or you can just give your customer the coupon as they walk into the store and spend it at the point of sale. Making sure that whole transaction works efficiently is going to be the key to making sure that you handle this transition from newspaper. So one of the biggest things we try to do with our retailers and our partners is build a channel, which means you want to be able to communicate with them. It's better to have 1 million mobile users than 10 million email addresses. And we're all aware of this, right? Emails bombarded, they get deleted, stuff like that. With a mobile, people interact, they see the coupon, they see the deal, it can drive them into the store. So the first thing is building that channel out and using an outreach approach, which is the ability to reach out to 1 million people by market, by demographic, what they've spent with us, what they've added to their wish list. There's all kinds of ways to segment that. Who has come into a store in the last month? Let's send them a message. Who hasn't come into the store in the last month? So there's the outreach, which is getting people into the store where they can spend money on your products in your store. The next is venue. So with this new thing called geofencing, which I'll touch a little bit more on in a bit, you can know when a customer with your mobile device walks into your store. You draw a geofence around your store. When somebody walks in, Your associates know they're there. You can start communicating with them. So how do you communicate with them when they're in your venue, when they're in your store? There's a special on aisle 5. There's a discount on this if you buy these 3 products together. All that kind of like, what you used to have to go grab a coupon for, or you have to use an end cap to kind of put things together. That thing can be driven via mobile in the store to your customers while they're shopping to increase basket size. Next is analytics. So around geofencing, you have the amazing ability to say, hey, if I have a geofence around every single one of our retailer stores, as well as their key competitors in each market, I can look back at a web-style analytics, and I can look at, hey, how many people have come into my stores in the last month? Not who's come to my website. How many people have walked into my stores from my mobile program? How long did they stay? What was the average duration? When did they leave? In that market, who's gone into my competitors? Which competitor is beating me out? You can look at traffic patterns around that analytics. So with mobility and geofencing and really focusing on getting people into the store, you can look at amazing analytics around your competition, around what's working, what's not working. Here's an example of the web-style analytics. So some of these screens, you can actually see the percentage conversion rates. Like if I drive an outreach program to drive people into the store, how many people walked into the store after my outreach message, whether it was a push notification or an SMS. And then if you really tie it back into a coupon that you show them, you can actually see the conversion rate. On this message for outreach to 1 million people in X markets, this many people walked into the store within an hour and spent X dollars using this coupon.
Well, the big change that's happened in the last year, or even less than the last year, is a point of view about mobile device management, and more particularly, bring your own device. Essentially, many of our customers have decided to essentially throw in the towel on controlling what devices the end user can bring into the office and what devices they can connect to the corporate network, what devices they can sync up with Active Directory and Active Sync and get access to email. And once you do that, then core IP of the company is exposed and at risk if you leave that iPhone in a bar or drop it on the sidewalk in front of Starbucks. So they're saying, gee, we'll have in some cases, an amnesty program, turn in your BlackBerry and we'll give you an Android or an iPhone. But we want to have the ability to wipe it clean in the event that we have a security issue. And so we're seeing a lot of interest in mobile device management, not just from the security standpoint, but also from the standpoint of being able to have links into things like SharePoint with Mobile Iron to upgrade the content and push it out to employees if you have a sales training issue. So we see a lot of interest. Start with, gee, I've got an issue, I've got a hole in my security environment, but I really want to turn it into a business opportunity, and I want to build mobile apps for my employees, perhaps a sales force that brings them all up to speed on what are our current best practices and descriptions of our value props. So we see mobile device management being an essential enabler of implementing that business strategy.
What's the ROI? What apps are your customers using? And a customer can be an employee, it can be a partner, it can be a channel partner, it can be a customer, a consumer. As an employee, when you roll out 10,000 iPads or 5,000 or whatever the number is, and you spend $5 to $10 million on the hardware acquisition and $1 to $2 million in management and security of those devices, what are you putting on them? What's the ROI?
One thing I'd introduce at this point is that in addition to CompuCom and BestFit being partners, we are a customer from a mobile application development standpoint of BestFit. And what attracted me to BestFit was not just the capability to deliver an app, but more importantly, stepping back and say, what business problem are we trying to solve? What's a business strategy? What's a design approach that we can use to get intimacy and engagement and improve the wow factor of the engagement of our employees?
Security, again, make sure our devices are hardened on the IT side, which just means any kind of data that's sitting on those devices is encrypted. Any kind of data that's transferred off that device is encrypted in flight. The back-end infrastructure to handle this, the cloud, whether you're talking about private or public cloud, whether you're talking about behind the firewall, the web services that go into that, the system integrations. This is, really complex tasks that you guys are undertaking with IT and marketing coming together. Mobile loyalty, I talked a little bit about what Neiman's is doing, some of the case studies we're working on right now inside of our stores is the ability to know when our customer walks in, know who they are, what they've spent, how do we make them happier, how do we make them put more in their basket. Yep.
All right. My name is Maddie Welch. I do work with Harris Teeter. I work in our mobile technology department. Just a brief background on where we've come with mobile. Less than a year ago, we rolled out mobile, and we did do it across all platforms. Well, and when I say all platforms, the most important, in my opinion, Android, iOS, and a mobile site. I know there were some panelists up here earlier talking about, I think it was Pizza Hut that said, excuse me, when they asked him which platform, he said all of them, right? And I think that's really important, and that's what we did. And the past year, or I should say the past 9 or 10 months, we really focused on doing the basics well. And I'm sure that's different for every company. For Harris Teeter, for retailers, we know what our basics were, and so that's really been what we've been working on, is doing the basics well. We've got a pretty intense loyalty program that's very successful, and making that an avid and aggressive part of the app of HT Mobile has been huge. We're coming out with our new shopping list integration here in the next couple weeks, which we're really excited about. And about 6 months ago, we knew we needed to aggressively step up our development on our app, and we knew we had to make a decision when we were kind of in the market for who we were going to have help us develop, and that's when we ran into BestFit. And I think it's really important to make sure you find someone who has those expertise in the field. So we've seen some great work, and we're really excited about the future with that. So what we've really been working on recently, and then I'll tell you where we're going. We're having a new shopping list come out, which we're really excited about. Another thing to keep in mind, especially for if you're in the industry like we are, it's really important to make sure what you're doing on your mobile app, on your mobile site, reflects what customers are used to on your desktop site. That might not be true for everyone, but for us, I know we are very proud, and we are strengthened upon our weekly ad every week. And a lot of our customers go to our site and build their lists, and they want the exact same experience just on a mobile version. So we've spent a lot of effort and a lot of time with BestFit on making sure that the integration is seamless across that platform. So we're really excited to bring that to our customers here in the next couple weeks. What's next on the roadmap? We are going to strengthen our prescription management. We do have pharmacy refills and transfers available on HT Mobile, which we're really excited about. We really want to strengthen that, though. There's a huge market for growth there with Harris Teeter that we're excited to dive into. And I give Walgreens kudos on what they've been doing. We've definitely been watching what they're doing, and I think it's great.
I mean, she's being very, we work with a lot of retailers, and the reason they're here is because, they've got loyalty integrated, they've got online mobile ordering of subs, they've got kiosks, iPad kiosks in their deli department. They're injecting mobile everywhere. And I urge you guys to talk to her, and what they're doing is pretty amazing. So it's all about the challenges you run into. You're trying to do cool and amazing things. There's no barriers to technology now. Just do whatever you think your customer wants. And I guess we'll close with that.